What up, world? Welcome to the Spiritual Gems podcast, where we perceive reality from a higher mind and share gems along the way. I'm your host, DJ, and ladies and gentlemen, I really want to introduce a powerhouse in the finance and holistic wellness space, none other than Reshona Bennett. Um, Picture this, y'all. So Reshona is a trailblazer in the world of finance, the co-founder of BK Crypto and a mastermind behind financial soul healing. But wait, there's more. Reshona doesn't just crunch numbers. She infuses her expertise with a touch of magic, blending financial counseling with soulful wisdom. Now imagine flipping through the pages of Essence magazine and stumbling upon Reshona's feature as one of the standout African American women in the crypto world. It's not just her financial prowess that shines through, it's her unique approach using intuition, astrology, numerology, and good old financial planning. She leads folks on a journey to align their soul's calling with or stacks of prosperity, excuse me. In her own words, financial healing is the cornerstone of true success. With Reshona by your side, it's not just about padding your bank account, it's about nourishing your spirit too. She's here to help you strike that perfect balance between feeding your soul and filling your pockets, y'all. So buckle up because with Reshona, we're diving deep into the realms of where money meets meaning. Remember her mantra: true wealth combines financial success with spiritual harmony. Get ready to unlock the secrets of abundance like never before. Welcome, Reshona.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. I'm like, who is that? Me? That
Yeah,
was
that's you.
magical. Oh my God.
That is you.
I'm
That
just so
is you.
grateful. Thank you
Of
for having
course.
me
We're
in this
grateful to have
space,
you.
DJ. It is that we're such in a magical time, but the conversation around money and finance and trauma has been a conversation that's been an issue for decades,
Yeah.
right? And I think now that we're moving in this 8 year of abundance and all the journeys before we got to the 8 year, everything is coming up like kind of like a womb, right? And that scab keeps
Yes.
and scabbing. And so
100%.
people are forced now to identify the root to those issues, to that relationship with money. I always ask in my counseling sessions, which leads into spirituality of what is your relationship with money, right?
Mm,
And a lot of times in the brown and black community, right? Let's
mm,
be clear, we are always told to work hard. And so in our head, we're working hard and we're paying the bills. Oh my God. Wrong mindset.
mm,
Wrong mindset. I always like to
mm.
say I'm not the smartest person, but my God, common sense ain't common.
It ain't common. Nope.
Ain't common. And
Yeah, that's
so
so true.
we're so in the space now that we have to literally redirect our thinking. We have to unlearn to learn
Mm,
how to truly sustain and build wealth.
mm,
Because in a sense, systemically, we've been bamboozled. And it's not
mm,
even a black or brown thing, it's a global thing of control.
mm,
Because I don't want to just limit to that it's a brown and black thing and we're victim and this was caused with this. No, it's a global thing because when the top wants to rule, they're going to create that perfect ad, marketing ad around the world to make you think that you should work for us. And in a sense that diminishes your power.
mm.
And when you diminish someone's power or a community or a family, and we can go into history, but we're going to go there, right?
Right, right, right,
Welfare
right.
and all those things where they took the family out and blah, blah, blah. But when you're creating this, and I say it's genius, this genius marketing ad will help you go to school.
Mm,
You're in debt. Student loans is $2 million because you're like, I'm going to get my education to get this 100K job,
mhm,
right? Oh my God. You know what? I can get food. I can get cash assistance. Well, due to inflation, I'm gonna need some government support.
mm,
I could get Section 8. I could get vouchers.
mm,
And although it seems this is good, but when your mind now gets out of the space of I don't need you anymore, it's hard to get out because now you're dealing with inflation, where your dollars are now devalued and the cost of living is higher. So even in your dreams, it's like, you know what? I'm going to put some money away, I'm going to stack. But little did you know, you want to stack, but Section 8 is saying you can only show this amount of money in the bank account. So what is that doing to you?
Keeps
Diminishing
you
your
low.
dreams.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Because you're choosing so-called security over what you're here to do in potential, right? You're choosing what's safe. And so generationally, you continue to pass that down. That's why it's so hard to break the cycle when your parents were on Section 8, their parents were on Section 8, they lived in this area, you probably gonna live in this area because you figured out a way to survive off of that. And they want that.
And you passing down this home.
Mm.
This, no, not even a home, excuse me, the apartment
Mm-hmm.
as a ritual or rites of passage to your legacy.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem. You don't own it.
Mm. Matter of fact, it sounds like you're being owned, right? In this scenario.
You're being owned. And so then when we're talking about to unlearn and to relearn, to really digest what is happening or what you're passing on, the awakening is happening. But then when you want to break the curse, because you understand the root, now you're dealing with a state that's showing that it's inflation. And now because it's inflation, I wasn't taught financial literacy or understanding that my money needs to be invested to grow versus me saving it.
Right.
Do you see the challenges being lined?
100%, 100%. Yeah. Oh man, we're going deep already. Ooh, we haven't even gotten to a question yet. I love that.
You know what I'm saying? So let's look at the root first, because we can always say, let's dig deep in self-love. We can go there, but let's deal with the root outside first, right? Because there is something that is happening. There is something that was created. And it's not to fall victim to it, but it's to understand the system that you live in. See, the tool that we need to acquire in any place that we go to take back your power is to understand the system that you live in. And that's a mindset change versus, oh my God, the system is taking control of my life. No, because now you're becoming a victim versus you're saying, you know what? Let me go to every community meeting. Let me start understanding the laws, right? Let me start understanding what a bank is and what they're offering me with my savings and checking accounts. Let me understand that if I go to college and I'm getting this loan, how much I have to really owe back? Is it better for me to go to Harvard because of the title and the relationship? Or is it better for me to go to a community school and then think about, do I want to start a business? And this is, everyone's journey is not going to be the same, but these are questions you can ask yourself when you start learning the system. If I am a Black and brown person, well, or what do they offer me now? To be educated because I'm in style, right? Versus the victim, well, I have no choice. I have to. That is a lie. You always have a choice. What do you choose? What do you want to create? Right? In the system. So I think what helped me, besides going into the astrological sign of my being a Taurus, they say I'm the goddess of money, right? It doesn't mean that I always have, right? But when you understand who you are and why you're here, there's a power, even in the journey of the storytelling of what you went through, because you can always change that story. But I can say, when I deal with my clients, that once we understand the root and then understand the systems that we live in, like we understand our bodily functions, we understand that what we need to eat for us to be better thinkers, to have a physical appearance, right? When it comes to men, what you need to eat for protein versus women, right? When you understand when it comes to your menstrual cycle, what you need to eat so you can minimize the pain, understand your systems. And that system can deal with physical, mental, emotional, psychological, and the system you live in day to day to conquer. And once you understand that, you win, you conquer, you are the power. You are the solution.
100% solution. I love that. Yo, you said so much and I appreciate it. I think this is a great time for us to really just like unpack some of this. We talked about root, you talked about the soul experience, you talked about self limitations and societal limitations and their impact on us, things of that nature, changing your mindset, healing, etc. The things that you input in or taken into your body for your particular type. All of that definitely matters. But I wanna kind of talk a little bit, if we can, about your journey a little bit. What happened in your personal experience or was there any epiphanies that you may have had that kind of allowed you to merge this holistic lifestyle that you're talking about, right? And finance together? Because typically it's generally held separately, right? When we look at people who are considered holistic or spiritual, you know,
Oh,
there's a saying that like woke means broke, right? And you know, Billy Carson is the one who likes to say woke don't mean broke. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it can sometimes be when you're on this spiritual journey. You begin to detest money and reject it because of, you know, money is the root of all evil. These are all the programming things that we have in our mind from society, music and movies and stuff like that. And so like I guess I'm kind of wondering like how like what sparked you to get into this space, career? Like, how did we get here?
man, when I reflect, this
Yeah.
and this and chose me. Like,
Mm,
you think that at first you're like, this is what I want to do. You know, this is my goal, this is my dream. And then as you reflect on the journey, when you're more conscious and aware, you're like, this thing chose me.
mm,
So if I can go into the timelines
mhm.
and grasp how it merged, I'll start with growing up. You know, I've always been a hustler, to be honest, right? Like I always was fascinated by money, right? So I guess that's the Taurian. I didn't even realize who I was until as I got older.
Yeah.
The actual internal imprint from the alignings of the planets and the numerology, my cycles and my path. But even just growing up, I had my own business when I started at 14. I had a hair
Mm,
braiding business with one of my best friends at the time, and we would post flyers on the train station, hair braiding for a certain amount of price, and we would literally do hair in the living room, right? And that was one aspect, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Hustler,
then
hustler, real young.
I was a hustler.
Yeah.
And then my mom said I would always sew clothes. I was into fashion, so I would sew
Mm.
clothes using material that we had in the house, and I would wear her shoes. And because at one point I was also a fashion designer, right? And I made clothes.
Ah,
Um,
didn't know that.
but
Okay.
being a Caribbean background, my grandma's from Trinidad, and when I think about my
Big
grandmother,
up.
Christina Hudson, she
Yeah.
came here in 1945,
Mm,
and she purchased a limestone, right? I'm going to be
mm,
jumping, but you're going to understand the pieces to the pie. Everything's going to make sense as I'm merging it together, right? Because it's all a marry out of things.
mm,
And so when we understand the root of where we come from, we understand the ancestral powers that we've had. So I'm merging all of that. So just listen to the story, right?
mm,
So my grandma from Trinidad, 1945, she bought a house, and she was a hustler. She did hair braiding. She did everything you could think about, but she didn't work with someone. She had her own business, right? And I remember during the parade, the carnival in Brooklyn, I would
mm,
literally go to 6th Avenue in Manhattan, and I would get toys and treats that I would sell in my cart on the parkway, right? So
mm.
if a product was $1, I would get 50 cents and I would double my money. And then as I got older, I started selling shots of Henny, right? I mean, even to
Okay.
the day the cops would pass and be like, what are you doing? I was like, do you want any? And they would support. So
Yeah,
that was the hustle. So I was
I
always,
love that.
right? So I'm like, oh my God, every year it's carnival. We're going down to 6th Avenue. We're going to get a discount and we're going to double up our money.
Hell yeah.
And then, I always had a love for dancing.
Mm,
And so when I got into college, I had the opportunity to literally try out to dance with Patra. And
wow,
me dancing for Patra put me on tour to see the world.
that's
And so whatever
fine.
was going on in my mind, it was powerful because not even knowing I was manifesting these things, the freedom of dancing, of making money on tour. But I recall when I was 14, I wrote a letter to myself. This is the power of the pen is mightier than the sword.
Mm,
I wrote that when I get older, at 14, I want a son, I want to get married, I want to have a house, and I want to have a business and be an entrepreneur.
mm, wow,
So not even knowing that I was manifesting something because all those things actually came to life.
wow.
And then
Hmm.
as I got into college and I started touring, my grandmother got ill. And this is my grandma from my maternal side, my mother's mom.
Hmm.
And she said, Shone, you have to go get your grandmother from California and you got to sell her house.
Mm.
What?
Mm.
So it's 23, we just getting the computers, you got the big old white box, right, with the green writing on it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, my grandma's a Christian. Let me see if I can figure out if I can find over this side. I'm living in New York and she's in California. So by the time I get there, I'm prepared because I have an agent on that side waiting to assist to sell her home. Now, remember, I had no training.
Mm.
I'm just using, okay, help me, guide me, God, because my mother told me I gotta do this. I'm the only child and I gotta take care of my family. I
Right.
gotta take care of my grandmother. I
Yeah.
find a Christian realtor. She starts the process. I go to California. I'm literally for a month, and my grandmother has dementia. And I'm literally watching everything go down the process. And I'm there for a month instead of me literally there for a week or 2 weeks.
Mm.
I sold the house. I got grandma back, and I'm here. Now,
Powerful.
years pass, and what happens again? My paternal grandmother now, she's about to lose her house.
Mm.
Now, I have 8 siblings on my father's side. And my dad calls me. He's like, Reshonah, I need you to help me. They're taking grandma's house.
Mm.
I'm like, no problem. Now, at the same time, I'm working at Nordstrom. I'm doing some high-end personal sales. And I'm like, all right, y'all prepared me the first time. You see what I'm saying? I'm being prepared, not even knowing
Right.
I'm
I
tracking.
had no
I'm
idea.
like,
Just following your
okay, I'm
promptings.
23 now.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do this. So I'm at Nordstrom, and I'm like, oh my God, y'all gotta help me. I knew a gentleman named Sean Carcass, rest in peace, and he was the dude who knew how to sell properties, short sales, straw buying, all the terms.
Okay.
I got the street knowledge, right?
Okay.
And I'm a licensed realtor, but it's nothing like getting it from the root, from the ground up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those tools are priceless.
Mm.
And so again, manifesting, I even know I'm manifesting. I'm like, y'all gotta help me. I gotta save my grandma's house. I literally had to go to bankruptcy court to save my grandma's house because someone literally fraudulently went in and took $150,000 out of her mortgage, which was at zero.
Oh my gosh.
At zero.
That's crazy.
So I'm like, okay, all right, God, you need to find me the person who's gonna help me. And so God brought the right people at the right time. And I tell you this, my grandmother, before she transitioned, she said, Reshona, I need you to save my house. They're trying to take it. And I held her hand and I said, Grandma, I got you. I'm gonna save your house. My mom was on board. She said, Shone, I got you. Because my mother was a teacher. So she had a strong foundation when it came to her income. You understand? Her credit report, right? She said, I got you, no problem. She could maintain the mortgage. My grandma was at the closing, and a week later, my grandma transitioned. So when you talk about how do you interweave the financials and the spiritual, without me even knowing it, I was being prepared for this.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
You understand?
Yeah, there was steps to it for sure.
It was steps before, and
divinely orchestrated to get you
many
there.
of us have the steps, but we don't even know that is even happening.
Right.
We're being called, or that the process that we're going through that at times may seem uncomfortable, challenging. But when you start elevating spiritually, it becomes comfortable to say, I accept this mission because I know I'm preparation. So for me to have gone there as I got older, and I was able to save the home from both of my paternal and maternal grandmothers, and that's part of my bio. It was like, guys, I didn't choose this, it chose me. I was being prepared. And so fast forward when it became, I always knew I was a spiritual person anyway at 8. And that's something, and 8, again, the power of 8, when I was in church in Florida. And I remember a family member just kind of like just telling me, your mother sent you home, sent you here without appropriate clothes. And something inside of me said, but God accepts me anyway. Why would that matter? So moving forward in my journey of healing and exploration, and finally reaching the mark of becoming a mom, and a mom raising my son on his own, then it got to that moment where I'm like, I need to deep dive now. My mother transitioned in 2019. That changed my life. I took care of her 3 years. I sold my house because I had to be with her. And then it was like, I was a grinder. I had my own business. I was making 6, 7 figures, and life was lifing. I was on point. And then 2020 hits and things start to crash.
Pandemic.
And I'm losing all my investments. I literally lived 12 years without working for anybody. Wow. Through my investments, through my businesses. Yeah. So I'm walking the walk and talking the talk. And I had to crash so that I could be in this position now to help people. I had to file bankruptcy literally last year. To understand that position, as I got hired last year, March 13th, when I prayed about it in 2022, for the universe to provide me with the right position. If I'm going back after 12 years to work as I call my assignment, it has to make sense. It has to be purposeful. It has to be in alignment to what I am supposed to do. It has to be. Yes. And how I got there is because when I went through my healing journey in 2022, with Brother Hank, Rising Sun, and he called me. He was like, "You got to come here. We're doing Healing Tuesdays," and my hip was messed up, and I couldn't walk. And I'm a dancer. I run track. And he said, "Come." And I said, "All right, God, because let me just say the word not. I'm not open to experience Western medicine to healing. I was open to experience holistic medicine to heal me because they wanted me doing hip surgery." Yeah. Understand? Yeah. So I listened to spirit. I went to Brother Hank Rising Sun's Healing Tuesday and met a Brother Shaman Dooley. And he was doing some creative natural tinctures for the body. And I said, why not? And a month and a half later, doing some venoms and different things, it's been no expiration. My hip, the pain was gone. Wow. I was running, doing splits. Come on. You understand? Yeah. But that took me on a journey for the whole year spiritually, where I was doing shrooms and shanga and rapé, right? I was creating a holistic circle called the Cosmic Healing Circle with Shaman Dooley and other miracle workers in the healing space. So I was like his, what do you call it? Oh my God, what do you call it? Apprentice in a sense. But then because when you start getting elevated spiritually, it don't matter how many years you didn't have. Because when spirit brings you to the truth, oh man, my magic started opening up. Wow. And I couldn't believe it, who I've become, to the point where I got a new name called Galactica because I became out of this world. Bars, I love that. You understand? Galactica, being called a supernatural. Wow. Because I was finally tapping into my magi, my magic. Yes. And fighting those battles of feeling insecure and not worthy, but knowing that I am worthy. I am the solution. Wow. So it's almost like you go on this journey, right? Like things are happening in your family and you're being forced to step up, right? And you were spiritual in some sense and following your promptings for sure. And then fast forward, going through these events in your life, 2020 happens and, things change. And then you're kind of like thrust into the really deep shamanic practice and the healing and having to self-heal. So it's almost like if you look at it from a macro perspective, it was like, okay, cool, Reshonah, you're successful. You have this 6-7 figure business now. You've gone through the obstacles of overcoming these things with your grandparents' homes, et cetera, and getting into the real estate biz. But now we need you to get a certain type of healing, right? We need you to learn how to heal yourself in order to do this next step, which we've been preparing you for, which is healing other people, right? And it's almost like God or spirit, universe knows that this is a holistic thing. We've kept finance separate, church and state separate. Everything has been kind of like a separation. And here you are, and you're being put through these things. Then, most people can have a victim consciousness and mentality like, oh, my hip. But you really just followed your prompt and say, okay, cool, I'm going to empower myself in this moment to follow what spirit is sending me to do. And boom, you didn't have to do the surgery. You were able to heal your hip naturally.
You know what I'm saying? You were able to then go dive deeper to where you're becoming a apprentice in shamanship. And so now I get it. So you're able to pull everything together, merge it together now, and say, look, I've had say I've been through the worst of it and the best of it, right? Financially. And the same thing with the healing aspect. And I've been able to survive and get back on top either way. And so, it's crazy because one of my questions for you is like, how do you navigate people who are maybe like skeptical in the way that you combine the non-traditional finance aspects, or sorry, the spiritual into the traditional financial aspect. But thank you for answering that question, because now we can see how, because it's all connected. You know
I
what I'm
had to get
saying?
strict though, bro. Like DJ, I had to
Yeah.
get strict.
Let's talk
Like we talk
about it.
about polarities as above, so below, right?
Mm,
At the beginning and the end, you are the alpha and omega, right? We're talking about the 8 and the timeline. Like I had to get strict because being a Taurian, for us, most people think of as materialism,
yeah.
right? That's all that matters, the physical and the materialism. And then Spirit was like, no, you're a spiritual woman. I'm gonna strip you to your lowest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that you can know that regardless of the material, you are more powerful than that. That is temporary. That you, it's like being stripped of what you're used to getting so easy. Yo, it's an awakening in itself. But now that I'm clear why I had to get stripped of, because I had to connect with my clients. Like
Yes.
I had to have them trust me, that I'm like, when I open my mouth and share my story, they're like, whoa, I said, you'll be all right. Because I have to help them to not jump off the ledge when they feel like this is the end. When they feel in
Yeah.
depression and anxiety because of their finances, their financial trauma, I'm like, nope, been there, done that. No, you're gonna be good. Let's get to the root. Do you
Mm-hmm.
understand? So
Mm-hmm.
that high for me, and even still going through challenges, I'm like, so this is why I went through it. This is why in 2022, at the very ending of my journey, where I went on a high of taking all sorts of holistic medicines and doing work and healing for others, where at the end in Mexico, 2022, finally someone was doing work on me, and I was going through the shroom ceremony, and I was being told, you're the medicine, you're the code.
Mm.
You understand? And then when I got home, Spirit was like, done. Sit down for 3 days and meditate. Where my fiery ass is like, excuse my French, I know this
No,
is a
you're
show,
good. You can
right?
cuss.
Was like, I'm always like this. I'm like moving. And it was like,
Yeah.
chill,
Mm-hmm.
chill. So I sat there in meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I sat there for 3 days because I done had the medicine. I done flew from Mexico back to New York, and I'm back to reality now, back in the 3D.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. And the voice said, Spirit was like, you are here to do some financial work, but it ain't traditional. You a soul healer. You are a financial soul healer. And that very time when I was told that, I had a presentation that said soul natural healing. And I never presented it, but I had my soul family is always backing me. I mean, the people in my life on my journey, the elders, the wisdom. I'm talking about Nancy, she's a master in Reiki. I'm talking about, oh my God, my sisters who's been holding me back from Nefertiti and Beverly. And I mean, when you have these sisters who are holding, when you're going through this transformational time, you think you're alone in the spiritual world because it sometimes appear to be lonely.
Yeah. That dark night of the soul energy.
Right. And it is not. Sister Linda, who I met from Nancy, I mean, meeting Jillian from the Cosmic Healing Spot and her having her book, Thriving Through Chaos, and them being on my soul team was like, you're not feeling, because they had 30 years of experience. God had my back. Because when I was going through something that felt like it was cray, I had someone to call who I trusted in the spiritual world. You understand? Who had my back. There's nothing like it. And so to be in this space now and to have died and then rebirth, literally I died. Like my body shifted to prepare for this. Literally, when I believe it was serious in 2022, when it was in July 4th, when we're going through, I think it was Jupiter going into Jupiter was going into Saturn. And I don't know if you remember that day, but it was a hot smoking day in July. And I was in my bed and my body was transforming. And I was in pain. I was in death. And who could only interpret that? Was my spiritual sisters, and they're preparing you for what's to come. I mean, I was like this. Like I was dying. I couldn't move. And I was because it was preparing me for now. I would go through it all over again to be able to connect the people and understand my purpose. And so I lead that same path, going through, right, meeting you through Professor Melanie's spiritual ascension, the calling. I was like, nope, I gotta be there. Something's telling me I gotta prepare.
Yeah.
And preparation and listening.
Yeah.
This is why I'm here. So when I speak to my clients, to your point, and it's trust, because I am trust.
Yes.
That's who I am.
That's a fact. Come on. No judgment. Freedom.
That's
You're
it.
all of that in one.
And that's my testimonies that I get.
Yes.
So that means I'm standing in my truth.
Yes.
And my purpose and my alignment. And so it's for me to do the work and to make sure that I'm connected with the right souls who have the vision, and they're also on their journey, that as we transform as transformers and connect, that we're now spreading this magic that we have individually in a community to heal.
I love that. Wow. Perfect. So I think this is a great place to kind of segue a little bit and talk a little bit more about your clients. In your work as a financial healer, I'm sure you come across a number of themes. In preparation of this conversation, I saw that financial PTSD, though it is not an official clinical term, is sort of like a thing, right? You and I talked a little bit prior to getting on, what I identify as what my PTSD thing is avoidance, right? Like seeing that bill, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to open this shit. I'm gonna pay it. Like,
a lot.
You become avoidant, you pretend it doesn't exist. You have people who, use retail therapy as a way to feel better about themselves.
Yes, 100%.
You have people who are like what I call like tight-fisted hyper savers, right? Where they're afraid to invest their money. They only believe in hoarding money as a means of security, right? So there's so many different
you are so amazing. Yep. You pinpoint all of the characteristics.
Ways, that these traumas kind of play out. I guess, maybe you could talk a little bit about like what do you see in your practice, and I guess, how do you normally, without going too detailed, because we have this workshop that we're going to talk about later, to help people work through those things.
100%. So thank you. And you're so dope.
Thank you.
It's funny because I always say my daytime is my assignment. So I'm a financial counselor. But again, I had to get hired to prepare me for my position as a financial soul healer, right? It's literally financial PTSD. It is trauma. And even the ones that have money, when I ask certain questions, it shows up. So you have the super saver, which I call the hoarder up, right? Then you have the ones who are the spenders. I call the ballers, right? Balling, right? Right.
I dig that. Right? Yeah.
And then you have the avoiders, which is like, nah, I'm disconnected. I'm cool. I'm good, right?
Right. Like I don't even see that bill.
Like,
what? Student loans where?
Connected, right? And then you have the givers, which is like, you know what? Right? And so although giving is great, it's kind of like also it's traumatic in a sense too, because you don't know how to give self-love to yourself. You don't understand the keyword of the value, your value. And so those both play a part in my day 9 to 5 and my 24/7, which is financial soul healing. And so when I identify that, even the conversations like in the financial daytime, I go through, before I go through this services counseling session, I want to understand what's your main goal. How am I here to help you? Right? Well, I need to understand more budgeting, managing my debt, and so forth. So I go through the line, I go through the budget, because when you see the credit report, that tells one story, but then I see your budget and your goal, it tells another story. And sometimes it's not aligning.
Mm-hmm.
And I need you to understand why it's not aligning, why your dreams is not going to actually manifest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I have a real acute or
Your gift.
gift
Your
of
skill.
bringing clarity to people
Yeah.
with me listening. I just said,
Yeah.
tell me the story, tell me the story. That's how I started, like, tell me the story. And then when you tell me the story, I understand. I'm gonna give you an example because this is better. I had a beautiful woman,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, I need to call because I need to understand how to better budget and manage my debt. I'm also a business owner, but I'm back in this loop again. I said, okay, it happens. I said, don't beat yourself up, your mother, your wife. Let's get to the root.
Mm-hmm.
It was so simple. Let me tell you, she didn't even know that she had a childhood wound. So the first thing she said to me and our conversation that I heard was that she spends $25 a day on her child.
Mm.
And I don't
Okay.
care if you're a millionaire. Let me tell you why that was a red flag for me.
Okay.
Because your child is about 9 years old, going to school, and who pays $25 a day for their kid? Lunch, the average lunch for me working is $10.
Right. All right.
So I said, you're paying $25 a week. That is for 2 kids, that's $50 times 5, it's $225. And I started adding it up. Because most people, again, when you're doing, you don't see the outline. You don't see how much you're spending on a day-to-day and what that's being allocated to, or how it's reducing from your income. I said, why are you spending $25 a day? You know, the first thing she said, because I want my son to have everything. I want to make sure that they have everything that I didn't have.
Come on.
Woo!
Come on. That's how it goes. Trying to
Said,
fix the past
you're
through someone else instead of healing what's within you and know that like you are enough and the lack and the so it's like a projection
listen,
now. That's crazy. Yeah.
100%. And I said,
Yeah.
that is beautiful. I said, I want to ask you a question even further. What did you experience when you were younger? So I remember I was in the projects, and I remember in the private, my mother saying, no, I wasn't able to go to the corner store. I would hustle to go to the corner store to buy snacks. I said, right. I said, so now you're compensating for you because you want your child to experience having the greatest sneakers, having snacks at a certain price that's going to cost you to actually building wealth for him. What's more important for you right now? Because he can have both. But we have to now empower ourselves by having a budget to obtain both the feeling and experience that you want to create for him, and also building a wealth, the long term.
Yes, because that place exists.
Yeah. And she said,
Yeah. Mm.
oh God, I didn't even know that this led to my childhood. I didn't know that I had trauma.
Mm.
And that was her response. And that let me know that most people don't even know it's existing, that they have trauma from their past. And that their pattern that they're existing in, whether it's through their marriage, whether it's just day-to-day with themselves, whether it's just with their children, that they're reenacting something that might not be conducive for the whole and just the peace. And that's the problem.
Yes, yes. That I'm sure many of us aren't even cognizant of how deep these feelings of fear, lack, shame, guilt,
Oh, 100%. It
around
plays.
finances. Yeah,
It
it's so
plays with
deep.
us. It
Wow.
plays. And so if I could flip it to my financial soul healing clients, I asked 22 questions. And I just really like to go get into understanding your joy, what brings you joy, what's your relationships with money, again, the characteristics, and then, what can I do for you? And a lot of people are asking to heal my issue with money, my finances have been flow to me, or gain clarity of my purpose. And so when I also align the birthdays and so forth, even just the questionnaire in itself lets me see a deeper perspective of who I'm dealing with and their trauma. And they'll go back to something that happened in their childhood, a relationship with their partner. They saw money differently, even to the point where they were in foreclosure and lost their house. So therefore, this is why you're saving, because you're saving to the soul where you're like this, I would never be in this place again.
Yeah, I'll never allow myself to be. Yeah.
I would never allow myself to be here again.
Wow.
It's like fight or flight.
Yeah.
So when you get deeper to it, then I can give a prescription to start the process to heal and also build wealth in simple steps.
Wow. That's amazingly powerful. Like, there's not much that I could really say. I think you really covered it all there. The level of trauma that we have, and I love you I love that you're able to get people to dive deep in these areas, face themselves, heal these things, heal their inner child, so to speak, um, in order to realize, it's something as small as, uh, overly abundantly providing for your child's lunch because you don't ever want
Yes.
to go without because you went without
Mm-hmm.
is overkill. It's an overextension. And I realized that not just financially, I feel like um, when I realized in the healing journey itself, what we tend to do is once we are able to be in a position of power to um, be an adult or to change the things that in our childhood we didn't like, we tend to overcorrect. We tend to
Yes.
go from one
Overcompensate.
extreme
Mm-hmm.
to the other. And where we truly need to reside is in the middle, right? Because at
Mm-hmm.
moments,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to need a little bit of both. You're going to need to be frugal in moments, and there's going to be times when you have to take risks and spend. And, money is energy. Money likes to move.
Energy. Yes.
It's
Yes.
currency, right?
Yes.
Current, energy,
Yep.
flow.
Go.
And so, that's why, being the hyper saver doesn't really help you. Neither is the hyper spender. You know what I mean? Like they both need to relax and take and be in flow and be somewhere in the middle. And at moments it requires you to do both, a little bit of saving, a little bit of spending. It's all somewhere in the middle. So I love that you were able to get your client to understand that, like, listen, there is a equilibrium point that we can reach where your child, your son, your children can still get everything that they need and desire, and you can still save for yourself and put yourself first at the same time.
100%.
um there's this idea that has been projected on us in terms of the human experience that, like, everything is about limitations, right? um
Oh my
uh
God. Ashe. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And there's this idea that if scarcity mindset, that's another thing that plays into
Yep.
people's minds, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that makes them get sort of like greedy in a sense or tight-fisted is like, there's only so much money in the world. There's only so
Yes.
much land in the world. There's only so much
Yes.
food. There's only so much. And so we really believe and buy into that, right? We buy into the poverty mindset. We buy into
False
the fact that,
narrative.
like,
Mm-hmm.
there's food shortages, but that's only true in specific places, right? But generally speaking, everything is really in abundance in this earth and in this earth and this planet. But we're structured into these little small, dense cities and areas that we refuse to leave from, or don't have, or have the limiting mindset program in place that, yo, if things aren't working out for me in this particular area, maybe I should move on and transition to do something else. And so
Mm.
I just love the way that you put it and how you're using that all holistically to help people have a broader perspective about finances. Because listen, the Most High, God, the universe, however you want to call it, they want you to be in abundance, right? But the type of abundance is your choice. You can either
100%.
choose to be abundance in the things that are positive and great and that make you happy, or you can get more of the negative too. So I just love that you're unpeeling and getting down to the nitty gritty and the crux of these situations,
Yes, the
seeing
root.
people. You know what I'm saying?
Can I share a story that I think also
Please,
is to
please.
mind, if you don't mind?
Yes,
Um,
yes, of course.
I had a beautiful client who was preparing, and I feel this is important because I get a lot of clients who are preparing for retirement. And I can say to DJ, sitting in this chair as a financial counselor can be emotional
Mm,
because in a sense you're looking at yourself, meaning that not claiming
yes,
it, but seeing that in time you will get older, and are you prepared what that looks
yes,
like? And I
yes.
have so many people that have sat with me who are elders.
Mm,
Um, and I'm sorry. And
that's it.
this gentleman that resonates with me, beautiful soul. He came to me, he said, I came to you because I really want to utilize a service, the free service, New York City free service, which is amazing, right? And he was like, I'm preparing for my retirement, and I managed to save about $500,000. Okay.
Hmm.
And I was like, yes, this is awesome. And he said, I was able to do this because of something that I won in the past. I was a case, but I'm now want to make sure that I'm set. And I said, okay, so let's go over your budget. He goes, yeah, I'm frugal. I make sure that I minimize my expenses and I put majority of my money into savings.
Mm,
I said, okay, great. But here's a keyword trigger that I heard again.
Mm.
I'm frugal.
Mm.
So I had to connect with him in a loving way to say, it's great that you're frugal, but did you calculate the amount it's going to cost to live your life when you retire?
Right.
$500,000 is not going to be enough.
Nope.
Right? He said, yeah, because I remember the banker telling me, do I want to invest? And he said, no. That cringed my heart again, because I'm a serial investor. I mean, I'll put $10 away, like literally the rule of pay yourself first. I literally be like, I'll pay that first before I pay bill. I'm keeping it real. But that's just me, guys. All right. So when I heard that, it got me again emotional. I started cringing. I said, can I talk to you? Can I be straightforward with you? And he said, yes. I said, I want you to add up the cost of what your life is going to look like when you retire, since you're 62 now. Because if inflation is happening now and it's real, which means that it's devaluing our dollars, then what are you utilizing to hedge against inflation?
Come on.
Ooh. He looked at me. He was like,
one.
what? I said, so you're being frugal. You know what frugal is? It's actually a negative word of saying that I don't know how to let go, that I think I'm saving for a cause, when you're actually doing a disservice for yourself, a dis-ease, because right now what you're doing is you're not planting your seeds in anything to grow. And because in your head you're saying you're frugal, you're really saying I'm scared to ever let any of this grow, which means that you are now doing a disservice of your future.
Yes.
Because inflation will have that $500,000 in the next 10 years be only $5,000. And he looked at me, he was like, oh my God, I didn't think about that. I said, so can I recommend something? I said, I'm not a financial advisor. Why don't you take the leap, since we're in one of the largest wealth transfer right now? Baby boomers are expected to make $14.8 billion in this industry, because baby boomers are the largest right now. And it pertains to the generations. So you're considered a baby boomer. Take 20% of that and allocate that to, since you're conservative or frugal and you want to be safe, because I hear you, put it in an index fund. Put it in a mutual fund. I said, we have certified financial planners that you can talk to, but I'm telling you, because I see you and me, and I'm saying to you, what you think is mapped out is not fully, because you didn't add up inflation.
Right.
And you're not hedging it, and nothing's growing.
Yes.
And he looked at me, he said, I can do that. I said, please and thank you.
I want to unpack this a little bit, because I think that this could be a really dope lesson for the people who are who they consider themselves to just be conservative. And I'm just really good at saving and maybe a little in denial about things. What you're sharing about the story and the thing about frugality that I think that we don't admit. Well, let's even go on a base level. Let's start there. We're programmed into the system that worked for the baby boomers, and maybe a subsequent generation after that, where you can work your way up to your factory job and work your way up into retirement and have a pension fund. The days of that, for most of us, are over. You had Social Security.
Oh
right?
my God. Talking about that one. That's
as
gone.
your backup to survive, right? And, I saw the other day that they were saying that 40 years ago, the person that was making $36,000 a year is making way more in terms of buying power than the person that's making 75 plus a year today, because of the cost of inflation, right? So these are the things that we're programmed to believe. I need to work for a company until I retire, until 2008, 2009 happened, and we saw companies go belly up, and there goes your retirement. So nothing in this world is permanent and perfect. So I'm not trying to say that like they're doing it wrong, but we have to be really honest and unpack and realize that the days of those things don't exist anymore. You have to take your life in your hand and empower yourself. The days of trusting your government to do it for you is gone. The day of like trusting your company to do right by you is gone. Okay. And so even if you're a good saver in this particular example with this gentleman, like that's nothing to sneeze at. 500K is great, but it's probably not even in a, I don't know what type of savings account, but maybe not even in a high yield savings account, right? So he's not making
It
money on the,
wasn't.
so you don't even have it there, right? You're not investing, when you have all these other companies that are doing so well, like Apple and some of these other ones that are out there. You have the emergence of crypto, which is something we definitely got to get into just a little bit because I know you love crypto. And um you have all these things where you can potentially take this 500K and exponentially jump and multiply it 10x times, maybe. Who knows the potential is? The market goes up and down, but whatever. But he's thinking to himself, like, 500K, that should be cool. But, like, yeah, it depends on where you live. If you live in New York City, that ain't going to do for you, family. You know what I'm
No,
saying? It really isn't.
no,
And so
it's
what we
not.
don't what we don't talk about enough is our elders who are now going back to work and fronting.
Hello, that,
So
mm-hmm,
what they do is you see them in the workplaces and they're driving buses and they're like
mm-hmm,
helping kids crossing guards and
mm-hmm,
stuff like that.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And they're like, oh, I'm just bored. But for a
mm-hmm.
lot of them, I'm not saying all, there are outliers, but a lot of them are actually because the Social Security isn't enough. Right.
Oh,
So now I need
man,
to
you touching.
supplement my income because I thought I was good for retirement. I did all the
Mm-hmm,
things I was
mm-hmm,
supposed to do, but
mm-hmm.
everything is more expensive today, you see. So this is really, really huge. And this is why we got to get out of the old modality of how we did things. The days of that stuff is over. It's time for us to wake up, empower yourself, heal, and partner with people like Reshonah who are going to really help you 10x your life financially in a new way because the old ways just don't work anymore. Go ahead.
It's ever, I mean, you nailed it 100%. Those are all the scenarios that I see with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an awakening. It's like it empowers me more to really push this mission of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And collaborate with others who are the same, because we can make the change. We can really
Yes. Never
change
too
people's
late.
lives.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so when we talk about retirement, I have clients who sit with me, and this is the thing. This is one thing when you have to work or when you want to work. See, there's
Facts.
two types of people with retirement. They are busy bodies because they're like, you know what? If I sit down on the couch, my brain will deteriorate. So they go out to work again. But then the
Mm-hmm.
clients that I'm seeing now, they have to work because they're telling me that their pension is going to end. They're only bringing in $986 and their rent is five something. Cost of living, you're talking about eating.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever spent $100 now on New York food in the grocery store? You get like five items. Okay.
Especially if you want to eat healthy, right? You want some
And you
whole
eat it
foods.
healthy. So you get some avocado, some beans, some rice,
Right.
right? Some plantains, right? Okay. Some yuca. And I go buy you some soup, boy. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
you can spread soup. But no one's taking that position because they're avoiding and they're acting like they ain't got bills on the side, things to pay for. They're living the same life that they would if inflation wasn't taking place. Because you just made a point that someone's getting paid more, but it still doesn't do anything because you're still
Right.
living in
Cost of
inflation.
living
The
impacted.
cost of
Yep.
living
Mm-hmm.
is higher.
Yeah.
So if you're
Exactly.
not doing what the wealthy do, which is that they invest because they believe in planting seeds and assets that allow it to grow.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it yourself when you say, well, how do I evolve? You either put yourself in classes that's going to improve yourself or your skill set so that you can have more value. So when we talk about the shift, what can we do? I say it's simple. And I know that it's not simple, but it's simple meaning the minute you say, I'm ready to change, the universe literally will provide you the tools.
Mm-hmm.
When you make that first step and decide, this I can't do this anymore. Nope. I'm ready for change. Things will start popping up because the
Yes.
issue with us is that we want to understand everything and we want to know how.
Yes.
So part of my spiritual practice is allowed me to just be and
Mm.
trust.
Mm.
And so me being guided by spirit allows me to get out of the ego mind
Mm-hmm.
of me wanting to control every movement that I do. And now I ask for assistance and guidance to make sure that what I'm doing in the direction of where I'm going and sharing my gifts is done in the right way, or to support me so I can reach a bigger viewer of people. Me being in a 6th year, confirm what I'll be doing. You know how many workshops and platforms I've been in without even asking? And I was saying, you sure? But because I knew that I'm in a 6th year, I was like, let's go. Y'all gonna prepare me. I'm already ready.
Come on.
And that's what I do for my clients, because I'm not going to say that it's always easy or there's not going to be a challenge, but it gets easier when you can understand who you are and why you're here.
Oh, powerful. Listen, I love that you said that, because that was going to be one of my questions, is how do we use the astrology, the numerology, the spiritual tools that have been given to us, that we most times ignore. Mind you, most of these what the so-called elite and these people, these executives, these owners
preach what they follow, preach.
They're using numerology, they're using astrology to launch products, to know when to jump in and out the market. Is a reason why you have Mark, what's his name? Mark Z, selling off a large portion of his Facebook stock and shares so he can sell high, buy low. Like, this is all, a lot of this can be predicted and scales and trends, and a lot of that astrology and numerology can help unpack. So I'm happy that you brought that example in, because that was going to be one of my questions, like, like, how are you using these spiritual tools? And that's a great example. Like, you're in a 6th year, that, like, all right, bet I can take some maybe some chances, some risks to make some things happen, right? When you're
because it was already told, listen, you a boss, you're a teacher, you're gonna be on panel. Like, it's telling me, and I'm like, okay, so you're giving me the tools. All right. Because it's nothing like when you can help yourself stand in your power and then help others. The secret to all of this wealth building, honestly, and it's not just even when we think about money is an energy, but wealth ideally is the access to really do what you want to do, right? With your family, your friends, with yourself, with community, right? Your lifestyle, your mindset, your emotions. We don't think about that. That's wealth. That's wealth.
Yes.
And so how do you visualize your wealthy life?
Wow.
How do you visualize your wealthy life? What you put in your mouth? What do you eat? How you're exercising daily? How you waking up daily? What is your mantras? Who are you hanging out with? Who's your spirit team? Who's your soul family? Where are you traveling? What stations are you watching? That's wealth. How are you programming yourself? How are you programming yourself? Are you in control? Are they controlling you? Because if the eyes are the windows to the soul, then what is really coming into your soul that's programming you?
Come on. Jeez. Wow. It is a holistic thing, and we don't look at it as such. We look at it as a materialistic, the house that I got, the cars that I drive, the trips that I take, the money in the bank account. And it's much more like wealth is much more of a all-encompassing thing. It's about, what are my stress levels, right? What is my quality of life? So I can have millions of dollars in the bank, but if I don't have anyone to enjoy it with, or I don't do anything with it to enjoy it, then what is the point, right? Or you can have a ton of money, and if your health has gone to shit, how can you enjoy it if you're in the hospital all the time? You're sick from cancer. None of that stuff matters, right? Wealth is about an all-encompassing theme that you talked about those things. And so we have to begin to change the way that we look at money and wealth from a holistic approach, because that's
holistic approach. I always say it's about the whole idea, the pieces to the pie, right? Because when you start looking at things at a holistic approach, then it's more filling. And in the holistic approach, you now are breaking up the pieces to create that whole. What is it, that piece of that pie is missing that you now have to put back in to create the wholeness, but for yourself, right? So when I approach things with my clients, again, it's tapping back into understanding their journey, their direction, their route, what was challenged and how do you want to improve it? Because the only way I told my clients to, and I said, I'm here for you. I'm your cheerleader. But if you're not cheering for yourself, then it's not going to work, whatever I provide for you. Whatever strategies I implement for you, it's not going to work because you are not ready. But when you're ready, something happens. Yes. And it becomes magical.
The universe has no choice but to respond to that energy, to that
vibration. No choice. It's understanding the secrets to that, both those vibrations. So every client that I have is uniquely different. And at the same time, every client that I have is a reflection of me, either where I was or where I'm going or where I've met in the middle. And now I've passed that level where I need to elevate to the next level. So I enjoy the mirror image and effect. I enjoy, actually, I can celebrate of me as so-called crashing, because it was a lesson that I could identify, God telling me I'm not material. I'm bigger than that. Sure. I'm not just a physical, I'm bigger than that. And now I can share that same secret, that same magic to help someone to jump off the ledge, to now save themselves, and then hopefully in the future save somebody else.
Ooh, can we unpack that for a moment? Could you you said something that to me needs to be emphasized. Saving yourself. Family, listen to me. Y'all out there in TV, YouTube world, wherever you're listening to. No one is coming to save you. You got to save yourself, which means that you have to do the work. So a lot of us say we want to be wealthy and we want to be financially abundant, but we don't want to put the work in. We don't want to do the healing work that it takes. Like Reshona B is saying to y'all, like, it's holistic. And don't think that like the government's going to save you. Don't think that the God is going to save you. Like, no one's going to save you. You have to do the work. You have to be a vibrational match for the things that you truly desire. And in order to do that, you have to change your subconscious thinking, and you have to heal the things within you that are holding you back, because there's no one else holding you back but you. And persons of color, now I'm a person of color, and others, of course, that have victim mindset. So everyone can understand. But I think especially in our community, we have this victimization complex because of, it's going to be triggering, but I got to say it, slavery and racism. Don't hold back. I just got to say
you are the reparation. You are the reparation. You are the reparation.
Thank you, because I was going to go in on these people real quick.
Repair yourself. You are the reparation. DJ, repair yourself. You are the reparation.
Yes.
That's what you're saying. You are the reparation. No one don't owe you nothing.
Facts. Come on.
That's what you're saying, my brother. You saying repair yourself.
Yes.
So you can be prepared for the reparation of what you're creating into soul. Because you are the solution.
Come on.
The beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega.
Come on.
That's what you're saying, brother.
And don't be afraid to be that energy. You are the creator. You are part of God. You are God in the flesh. Stop running away from your power. That's programming that makes you believe that you have to continue to just sit and pray. Like, no, it takes action to get it what you truly desire. So get out of the victim consciousness. It doesn't help you. So what you do is when you save yourself, then you pay it forward, kind of like what we're doing in our own ways, right? Like what Reshonah is doing now. She's paying she's paying it forward with the lessons that she's learned in her life. She's been up, she's been down. She's figured it all out. And now she can share that with you to help free some of us who are struggling with their finances and you know, maybe aren't the greatest or the best or whatever it is. Or could be better. We all could heal. There's levels to this. And don't think that because you have a certain amount of money, you have a car, you have a house, that you're just that you're good and you're just satisfied. Like, it's bigger than that. You know what I'm saying?
Still not happy or
joyful. Still not happy, though you think you are. Just because you work so hard and then you have to go take this lavish vacation every 3 months, because if you don't, your mental health will plummet. And you damn near want to commit suicide, and you don't even know what the hell you have to be miserable about, because there's a lot of things that you have underlying within you that you need to heal. So yeah, man, perfect. But all right, cool. So I just want to segue because that was amazing. So, you know, you being in the financial space, obviously you understand trends. Um, how do you kind of see the landscape or the financial landscape evolving in the next coming years? Um, Particularly in what's going on maybe in like money markets, and then how do you plan on, or how do you use in your with your company those healing and spiritual abundance practices to help
In
point
my
you in the right
company,
direction?
meaning BK Crypto,
BT crypto,
like, so,
yeah.
yep. So it's funny because, again, when spirit talks to you, I'll listen. So this particular aspect wasn't even a part of BK Crypto. BK Crypto was created, it was started in 2017, our journey. Again, that's all spiritual. Like, even meeting our
Mhm.
partners, like, we all worked with each other at some point in our life, and then we came back together in
Um,
2017. And we were literally just spitting out free information, like free like bars and lounges of Black-owned businesses, and just chatting about this evolution of money, of technology, Bitcoin, blockchain. It was just a conversational piece.
mm,
And meeting my partners, Dylan, used to work with him at H&M years ago. Found him on a train because I was going to a meetup with crypto, and he was like, "You don't remember me?" He was like, "I'm inviting you to this event." Kim, my business partner, literally, she used to be part of the marketing team for, I think it was Sony when I was touring in 20, when did I graduate? 1940s. I graduated 1994. So 1994, when I graduated, I went to tour with Patra 1998, maybe,
Queen Patra.
right? But Kim was
Mm,
one of the managers, the director of Sony. Met her 20 years later, BK Crypto partner, right? I'm sharing this because Spirit tell me to share it to say that nothing is by mistake when you choose
yes,
a path, right?
yes.
And it chose me, right?
Mm,
So Kim, I named my business partner, BK Crypto, Dylan, Ansel. I saw Ansel on Facebook, just chatting it up with a whole big screen that had Africa on it. And
mm,
I was observing his statements. He was just so swift and just skilled with his language and how he expressed about the community and ethics and finance and macro and micro. And I was like, you should join our group, BK Crypto.
mm,
And that was in 2017. He joined the group. So
mm-hmm,
now in 2021, we made it official. We're the co-founders, but look how we came together, and it's the four of us.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's foundation. That's
Yes,
balance. And we're
yes.
all spiritually aligned, and we all got a reading because I've been taught. And I had to
Mm,
make sure that this time, because I've made mistakes in choosing business partners, that we're in alignment with the
yes.
mission,
Right,
the
right.
foundation to spread this
Mm-hmm,
love. And
mm-hmm.
so they always supported me on my journey where I had to tap out, was there, but I had to tap out because there was like, you need to, I apologize. We need to go on a spiritual journey, and they supported that. And that spiritual journey had me now add financial soul healing to BK Crypto because we realized in the essence of building wealth, talking to the diaspora about financial literacy,
Mm-hmm.
cooperative economics,
Mm-hmm.
right? The evolution of the evolution of the fourth revolution, that
Mm-hmm.
healing need to take place. So we added financial soul healing.
Mm.
And now on our site, there are people who are literally, when I do workshops and we do together, like, I want to sign up for non-crypto coaching because I understand what's happening, what's evolving systematically in the change of our money from the IMF, right? The world order, new world order, so to say, right?
Mm.
Own nothing
Mm.
and be happy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, there's some trauma happening. Fix me because I need to change. I need to create a legacy and I need to build generational wealth. It just coincided so organically in
Mm.
preparation to these times where we are now, which actually shifted when we really want to think about it in 2020,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so I was in
Mm-hmm.
preparation to now be prepared to be able to foster not only my gifts and my knowledge and my wisdom, but to now evolve in the largest wealth transfer ever.
Mm.
I like to say, I don't have I have a degree, a bachelor's in science, advertising, marketing, communication, but I tell you, my spidey sense is on. I
Okay.
follow the
That shit
money.
crazy.
I follow the money.
Okay, I love
And
that.
because I'm technical in a sense and creative. I look at patterns and patterns that move in the market as it pertains to finance, right? Because I've always been a serial investor. I told you my story. I didn't make it up when I was basically selling, had my son selling lemonade. I was braiding hair, selling it. I was traveling, touring, right? So something's inside of me to allow me to see things, right? So me being to see that, I remember I had my real estate license. I flipped houses, right? And everything that was hot in a trend, to your point, I was in. And I got into some, you know, MLMs, and I got into some things that I was like, ain't doing that again. But it was fun because I networked, I met people, and I traveled.
Yeah.
But then again, back to your point, the trends. Because for me, it was about financial freedom. When I think about it, I saw it too early, DJ. I'm 19 traveling around the world. 9 to 5, who? 9 to what?
Right.
Who did the what? But you don't
all by
realize,
design.
right? So I'm like, oh, so this is a life. I need to grind and be my boss, be my own boss. Y'all can't tell me what to do. But then the universe has something funny to shut it down and be like, I'm gonna teach you something, right? And you go back to work with somebody, right? But and that's beautiful too when you can see it. And so as I evolved and started looking at the patterns and the trends and how the wealth is making the money from the stocks investments, from the trading aspect, the Forex trading, you know, the options trading, I'm like, so I need to learn how to trade, Forex trading, crypto, Bitcoin. And how it happened was because I'm in real estate and I was watching $1 Million Listing. Do you remember $1 Million Listing? They had it, right.
Yeah.
It was like in California, it was like in New York. And so I'm like, someone's asking to buy a home for $18 million in Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin? You see, we don't often listen to the signs or the triggers, right? Because the triggers could be also something positive too, depending on how you look at it.
Yes.
And so I was like, light bulb went off, was like, ding. And I remember praying. And I was like, okay, universe, most high, listen. I need you to open the pathway for something new, something's evolutionary, something's going to change my life and others. What is that? I walked out the door, walked up in the hood in Crown Heights, and who was on the corner of my block, of the block? My homie, James. And he was like, yo, what's up? I've been looking for you. I know you always been investing. You got to jump in this call. They're talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. So what I do know is that when I'm clear and intentional, I can make things manifest like nothing.
Wow.
You understand?
Yes.
I got in that call shopping at Century 21 and was like, Ethereum, World Computer, Bitcoin, what is that? I was like, I got bread. I didn't even do research. And I'm telling you that because inside, it was like, it was something, and I trusted that. Remember, like how many times Professor was like, trust. You need to trust yourself. Many of us don't trust ourselves, so we miss it. I was like, oh, right? So I took my money. Ethereum was 7,500 and Bitcoin was 900 at the time. And Bitcoin right now is highest high is $70,000. Ethereum is at $3,586. I've been in this journey for 7 years, for 2017. And let me tell you, I knew going to these meetings, being the only woman of color at first, with white men, Indian men, that this was something evolutionary. And that I got into the early, and even through the challenges and the high to lows, the gambling, the risking, meaning that you think it comes so easy. So you see you see your Ethereum from $75 literally go to 1,200 each coin, and it granted me 400%. Never in my life have I ever seen that in my life. And I said, I'm onto something. What do I got to learn? Because the people are going to need to learn this. Then I kept connecting with old friends I just showed you, Dylan, my business partners, Kim, right? Ansel.
Yeah.
And now we're on this mission because we went through it, and we went through the 3 cycles of the halving. When I say I'm so passionate, because people don't understand that there's a timing and that we're shifting, and that everything that you are going through now is also being created. from a governmental standpoint, from a ruler standpoint. And so when you understand that you can departmentalize and take control of the shift of what you're seeing on the exterior versus on the interior, then you can win when you're playing the game of chess, not checkers.
Wow. Woo! Mike, like I drops mic moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? You killed that. I love that. That's so powerful. So what I'd like to do next is for the listeners out there, who have now listened to this conversation and they're like, look, I'm ready. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of living check to check. I'm tired of being a slave to my financial circumstances. I now am aware that, okay, cool, maybe I'm not really as prepared for retirement as I thought that I was. What kind of advice do you have or resources that you would recommend for them to begin their own journey towards financial healing and spiritual abundance? Yeah.
Great question. So I want to keep it simple because I know I can be very intense. So I'm gonna keep it very simple. Once you decided that you're ready to change, that's the first step. The second step is if you don't have a budget, because I'm going to mix it between traditional and spiritual. If you don't have a budget, you're smiling. A budget is the foundation to your wealth. You got to see what's coming in, what's going out.
Yes.
Look through your phone, look through your expenses, look through your income, start on top of what your income is and what your expenses are. Because I literally had a client that found out she had $990 in subscriptions.
Wow, that's crazy. Jeez.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they'll nickel and dime you to death, boy. Be like, oh, that's just $9.
Right.
$9.
So get yourself a budget. If you don't have a spiritual practice, I suggest you do some meditation, some breath work, some prayer to get some clarity on what you want to create.
Yeah.
Third step on what you want to create, I say write it down. See it visually. Even if you don't fully believe it, start creating what you want to experience. Because I can give you all the tools to invest, but if you're not there mentally, it doesn't make a difference. I need you to be set up mentally. Because what you prepare yourself to see is what you're going to create. So write it down what you want to experience. Even when you're fighting with yourself, still create. Write a paragraph, write 2 paragraphs, bullet point. I want to do this. I want to experience this. Because it's all about the emotion, what you want to experience becomes your greater why.
Yeah.
And if you have done all that already, then I will also recommend, if you're not paying yourself first, because you're the most valuable thing. I don't care if it's from $5 to $20 to $1,000, and I have videos on this too. Start the feeling of realizing that you are valued, that you are worthy.
Yeah.
That you are worth it.
Struggle with that.
Right? And so with a lot of my clients who say, I don't have, and my bills, you're right, bills are always going to be there. But I need you to recognize that you're the most important bill and priority. So whether you're tight, I need you to see that you can create this habitual muscle of paying yourself first. So take $5 and I would say put it into, maybe it's Cash App, maybe it's a Stash, which basically has fractional investing, right? Losing investing apps, because the whole idea of this exercise that you can be consistent with you. You looking in that mirror, you knowing that you're the most important person. $5, $10. And then as you gain that muscle, start putting in more. The recommendation is 20% to 25%. And then easy. Investing is easy. Look at the top 10 stocks based on what you enjoy. So stocks are kind of like, and it's not financial advice, I want to say, I'm just giving suggestions, is that you become an owner, right? Owner of the share. So it's usually recommended, whatever you shop most in, own the company. If you're a Nike person, own Nike. If you have an Apple, own Apple. Own a share to it, right? Think about the latest trends. What's happening now? What's trending? Google it. What's trending? Look at the top 10 companies that's in it. Scan it real quickly. Make a little investment. There's several apps that you can do it. But the beginning is really to start. And then if you need some more support on more financial aspect of experience in that area, such as myself and my team, then hit us up, right? Because we're here to guide you. We're here to elevate you and in a holistic way, right? So you can identify that you're the solution to what the propaganda is sharing, that you are only going to save you. You are your savior. You are resurrecting from you to your higher self.
Powerful. So let's add a number 5 to that, right? Because you kind of went, well, 4, 5, 6. So in step 6, sign up for this upcoming workshop that
You're
Reshona
so
B
smooth with
will be
it.
will be hosting on April 20th. 9 a.m. Eastern, I believe, is the time. The link will be in the description. So we'll be Reshonah's website and her team's website so that you guys can sign up. I'm gonna be there. Listen, it's only $28. This will be the best $28 you ever spend in your life if you're ready to be financially free, man, and to take life by the horns and to change your life today. It doesn't have to be so challenging and so difficult. Like you can be in flow. Use this opportunity and chance to begin your healing journey, and so that you can make the bread and the money and live this abundant life. Don't y'all want to be on the beach, kicking it somewhere, sipping Mai Tais, living the best
I'll
life?
do.
Bill
Yes.
paid. You know what I'm saying? Residual money just covered in, and it's just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, I know I do. So I'm gonna be at the workshop. Y'all, I highly recommend that you're there with me, and let's do this together, man. Like it's time to really just empower ourselves and to really take our lives back. So Reshonah, listen, thank you so much for joining me on this special episode. It was absolutely everything. I really hope that people out there got something from it. I know they did because I know I did for a fact. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you. And I'm feeling like there's gonna be a part 2 to this. No pressure. Wink, wink. Well, we gotta bring you back on and tap in with you because your energy is just amazing. It's infectious. It's powerful. I just want to tell you personally and publicly that, every time that we get together, we speak, I feel so powerful. Your voice is the way that you use your voice is your gift, and your effect that you have on people, at least from what I've seen, personally around me and me personally, is that you make people feel so empowered, which is so important, especially right now in this 8 year and abundance year. So listen, thank you so much for doing this, and can't wait to have you back on. Uh, but for the people out there, how can they reach you just so they can know for the listeners?
Definitely. So I definitely want to give you access to reach me. And I also want to close out with a poem that Spirit gave to me to
Yes,
write and read that had me in tears. So you can reach me at www.bkcryptocoach.com. You can send me
yeah,
an email at email at soulnancialhealing, SOULNANCIAL healing@gmail.com. IG, you can do BK Crypto World, which is BK Crypto WRLD or RB Rising 1 on my IG. And I really
yeah.
want to close out with this. Just thank you, DJ, for having me. Thank you for being a voice.
Oh,
Thank you for
of
standing
course.
in your power. Because the way you utilize words off of our conversation is just it's potent.
Mm.
It's potent. And you're a linguistic, and that is a gift of
Oh,
how you
thank
reach audiences in many levels, but it brings clarity. So thank
you. Wow,
you
I received that.
for this
Thank you.
platform. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so the poem that I wrote is called "You Are the Solution." That awkward moment when you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who you saw, a glimpse of a person that seemed unfamiliar. You got closer to the mirror and bumped your nose, and the glass which you ignited, sorry. You got closer to the mirror and bumped your nose on the glass, which ignited a blissful journey of self-discovery, remembering how amazing you were, beautiful, strong, resilient, courageous, powerful, creative, imaginative, soulful, healthy, radiant, divine love, cosmic, free, kind, joyful, magical, intuitive, brilliant, and prosperous. When you opened your eyes, you saw a note on the mirror that read, "You are the solution."
Oof. Ashe. Ain't nothing else to say, man. We're gonna close out just like that. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tapping with your boy on IG. Readings and consultations coming soon. We're working on it to help you on your healing journey as well, man. So peace, y'all. Thank you, Reshonah. See y'all later. Salute.